Good afternoon. Welcome to Louisiana School's 37th Exploration Day, but it's our very first virtual Exploration Day. And on behalf of the faculty and staff, and the current student body, and the alumni of the Louisiana School for Math, Science, and the Arts, I welcome you to one of the best experiences that you are about to be able to say I'm a part of. Louisiana School is rich in tradition, but what it always has been as the school for Louisiana's best and brightest. So before you, about 5,000 students have come through these doors and have undertaken the most rigorous courses of study and had some of the best experiences that have allowed them to go out in the world and succeed, whether it was in college, graduate school, or even in their first jobs. So as you move through today's events, ask lots of questions. And for moms and dads who are here with us today, realize that this is a big decision for you to actually allow your students to come to us for either 2 or 3 years of the final years of high school. But trust me, it is worth it that they be able to see and experience what in a Louisiana school education can do for them as they move on to the first parts of their life. So without further ado, let's swing our camera over to today's schedule of events. This is the schedule for those of you watching live with us on Sunday, November the 8th. The first hour and a quarter will be mostly informative sessions as we start with these presentations from 2 of our directors, and then a quick 15-minute video with a few of our current students on hand to answer some of my most frequently asked questions. After that, we'll finish it all up from 2:15 until almost 5 o'clock with the really exciting stuff, which is our professors getting to do what they love in teaching the students. While we filmed all of these sessions in advance, the first showing of this video is being aired as a live broadcast. As such, you won't be able to fast forward, but you can pause and rewind as needed. I recommend keeping up with the live stream as much as possible because whenever an informational segment is playing, the person or people who recorded that video will be available in the live chat section to answer any questions you might have at that time. You'll see that today's schedule is also available in the video's description below. So if you need to step away from your computer, you can always check to see what time you want to be back. After this video airs, it will remain on our YouTube channel, but we will also break it up into easier to navigate individual sections and create a new playlist here as well. With that taken care of, let's go ahead and get started with our presentations from our Director of Enrollment and Student Services, Ms. Emily Shumate, and our Director of Academic Services, Dr. Christy Pope Key. Welcome both of them.
Thank you, Dr. Horton, and thank you for serving as our MC for our Exploration Day. I'm Emily Shumate. I'm Director of Enrollment and Student Services for LSMSA. I've been with the school for over 20 years. As I was completing my master's degree in psychology at Northwestern State University, I learned about the Louisiana School, and I started initially working as a student life advisor in the residence hall, and then moved into the role of Director of Student Services. I've been doing that job since 2001, and I took on the admissions and enrollment program a few years ago as well. And so I look forward to talking with you today about the residential life program and also about a little bit what we do in the admissions office and the enrollment process. I'm going to begin by talking about our student services program, and that program can really be divided into a few specific areas. I like to talk about residential life, student wellness, community involvement, athletics and recreation, and also student activities. To begin with, we'll talk about our residential life program. And our residential life staff consists of the Assistant Director of Student Services, Ms. Jenny Schmidt, our 2 coordinators of residence life, Regina Brissett and Byron Cole, and then our student life advisors, resident assistants, the office staff, and some student life interns. The student life advisors are our full-time degreed live-in staff members. They're really the people that are there to provide supervision, support, guidance, and social activities for the students. They live on the hall with the students, and each of them has a group of about 40 to 60 students that they're responsible for working with. They're often that first line of contact for parents. They see the students pretty much every day. They have an idea about what's going on in their lives. They visit with them about their assignments. They have the same access to the grade book and the academic coursework that the students are completing that parents do. And so they're able to check in and see how that is going and visit with the students. They'll be the ones that may see them in the evening and see that something's going on, that they've had a bad day, and follow up to see how things are, what they can do to help, and to connect the students with some other resources and other services on campus. So your child's student life advisor is going to be a very important connection for you when your student comes to LSMSA. The student life advisors work collaboratively with our resident assistants, and the resident assistants are undergraduate students, usually seniors or juniors in college, who provide some additional assistance for the student life advisors and some building coverage for us. In general, for our program of residential life at LSMSA, the focus is to help students develop independent living skills in a safe and nurturing environment. I talk a little bit about the experience as being one of guided independence, because one of the things that you'll see when students come to LSMSA is we do expect for them to have more independence than they have previously at their home school. We expect for them to show more responsibility. So nobody's going to wake them up for class in the morning, and nobody's going to be doing their laundry for them, and some of the things that they're probably accustomed to you guys doing for them when they're at home with their parents. But the other side of that is we do recognize that they're still high school students. They're not yet college students. And so we need some safety nets in place. And so while we won't wake them up for classes in the morning, we will run some attendance rosters. And if we see that a student's missing classes and we don't know why, we're going to go track them down. And at that point, we'll probably wake them up and help them make it to some of their later in the day classes. Initially, we're going to expect them to show some good study habits and to take the initiative to get into a good study cycle. But if we see that they're starting to struggle with that, we're going to swoop in and we're going to try to help out a little bit. We're going to maybe put them on some additional study hours or an additional supervised study program. So we want to give them a chance to explore their independence, to show us that they're prepared for this experience, and to show responsibility. But we also are going to step in and help out if they struggle with those things in a way that you won't see when they do get to college and really are expected to handle all of those things on their own. In the interest of community wellness and student safety, and for it to be a good living environment for all the students, we have a number of policies and procedures in place. I'll start with the fact that all of our students do have roommates generally, and part of that has to do with space. We typically don't have the space for private rooms to be offered, but additionally, we think that learning to live with a roommate and learning how to compromise and how to share a space and how to work with other people is a really important part of the LSMSA experience and the process overall. We have a lot of rules and a lot of policies, and as you get further along in the process and it becomes more of a reality that your student may be attending the school, we talk a little bit more in depth about the policies, and students certainly become very familiar with the expectations. But I do like at this point to hit on just a few things that parents tend to be concerned about. One of those is our visitation policy. We do not allow male and female students to visit in one another's rooms, and so they're able to visit in some of the common areas of the residence hall, lobbies, and social spaces that are supervised by staff, but they're not allowed to go onto one another's floors or to one another's rooms. We also have a very detailed sign-out process, whereby when students need to leave the residence hall, they have to let us know where they're going and how they're going to get there and what time they'll be back. And there are a lot of policies in place that dictate where they can go and when they can go and what level of parental permission they have to have in order to go to those places. Specifically, when students are going to ride in cars or if they're going to drive their own vehicles, they have to follow some school rules about when and where those privileges can take place, but also they have to have parental permission in order to drive their vehicles or to ride with other individuals other than their parents. We also have some specific times during the day that we require students to check in. We have a window between 2 and 7 p.m., which we call speed bump. That's a term that the students came up with, and we've just gone with it. And so between 2 and 7, every student has to check in at the residence hall. We have to see their faces. We have to know that everybody's present and accounted for. And that's an important time for us because since we operate on a college schedule, students can leave the building at different times and return at different times. And so between 2 and 7, we know we'll have seen everybody and made sure that everybody's present and accounted for. And then additionally, we have our curfew, and that varies based on weeknight or weekend curfew, and sometimes also by the grade the students are in. Seniors can earn some privileges for extended curfew. And at curfew time, we do a room check. And so at room check time, the students have to go to their own rooms, and the student life advisors and the resident assistants will come by and check that every student is present, and again, that every student is safe and well. This is an important part of the day for us because, again, we don't have homeroom. And so at room check is another time we know that we're going to see everybody's face, and the student life advisor will have a chance to check in with them, ask how their day was, notice if things don't seem to be going well, maybe there's conflict in the room. Those are the times that we can start to address and be aware of those sorts of issues. As I mentioned, we've got a lot of policies. We have a lengthy code of conduct. I'm sure you can imagine that to keep 350 students safe and well on our campus, we have to do so. So we'll talk more about that further along. And if you have more specific questions, I'll be happy to answer your questions about the policies and our expectations. Our new residence hall is scheduled to open in fall of 2021, and we are very excited about that. The residence hall does feature fully furnished student rooms, so each student will have a bed and a desk and storage for their clothing and desk chairs. And the way the building is set up, the students will live with 4 students in each suite, and so that's 2 students per room, and then those 4 students share a bathroom area. The residence hall also has a laundry room on every hall, a study room on every hall, a hall commons area, which involves a little kitchenette area for students to do some basic food preparation, and also some areas for hall meetings and students to visit and have some of their social activities. There are also several common spaces for the students. So there's a demonstration kitchen, which will be a place for us to do programming that involves cooking and teaching how to do different types of food preparation, but also for students to bake cookies and do things that they can't do in the little kitchenette areas on their halls. There's a game room and a craft room, a multi-purpose social room that we'll use for different types of activities and programs. The building does have wireless internet throughout and also a staffed reception area, and that area will be staffed and supervised 24/7 when students are on site. Our student health and wellness program is the second area that I'd like to talk about. Our health and wellness staff consists of our full-time nurse and our nursing assistant, as well as 2 personal counselors. And both the nurse and the counselors are on call whenever students are in session. So student life staff members can reach out and get in touch with the nurse or with the counselor anytime that they need to do so throughout the day and evening, overnight as well. In terms of health services, our nurse is able to provide medication administration, and that includes prescription and over-the-counter medications as needed for students. She can also offer illness assessment and make a determination if a student may need to go see a local physician. If she thinks a student does need to see a doctor, she'll work with parents and be in consultation with parents to talk about that and make those decisions. But if everybody's in agreement, she can schedule an appointment with a doctor in town, and she or her nursing assistant or one of the student life staff members will take the students to the appointment. And then following the appointment, we can go to pharmacies, pick up prescriptions as needed. And in addition to that, she can obviously provide first aid and emergency response as needed. And she trains the residential life staff to be able to administer medications, do illness assessment, do first aid, do CPR, so that they're able to provide necessary services to the students after hours as well. And then for our students, she provides health and wellness education. We tend to do some monthly series on different wellness topics that we think it's important for the students to learn about. Our personal counseling services are aimed towards providing brief and solution-focused counseling. Our counselors can meet with students for any number of issues. Certainly we see homesickness and adjustment issues. We see a lot of students that struggle with stress management and time management. We find that once they're living in situations with roommates and sharing a space, some of our students need a little help with some assertiveness training and how to handle those conflicts that may arise. A number of our students may experience grief and loss during their time at LSMSA. And they also work with students on other emotional concerns, depression and anxiety, and other things that are often a part of the teenage experience. We do look to try to handle those sorts of issues in a pretty short-term setting. So our counselors will generally try to meet with students for maybe 10 to 14 sessions max. And if a student might need ongoing counseling for a lengthier time period than that, they can make referrals to outside counselors. We have a number of counselors in the Natchitoches area, and our staff can provide transportation to those appointments as needed. Our counselors also offer crisis intervention as necessary, the coordination of 504 accommodations for students who have accommodations in place. And again, they also provide some health and wellness education to our students. And so this photo shows one of our Wellness on Wednesday seminars where the counselors and the nurse are all there providing some information as students are going to lunch in the Center for Performance and Technology. The next area I want to talk about is our athletics and recreation program. Athletics and recreation is headed up by Coach Dale Klingerman, and he serves as the coach for all of our team sports here at LSMSA. LSMSA doesn't participate in the Louisiana High School Athletic Association. Instead, we participate in some private school and some Christian school leagues, and that gives our students a great opportunity to compete, but also the ability for us to prioritize their academics, which has to come first for our students. One of the things I love most about sports at LSMSA is that any student who wants to participate on one of our teams is able to do so. It doesn't matter if they have a lot of ability. It doesn't matter if they've ever played the sport before. If they're willing to come out and give it a shot and work hard, we're thrilled to have them on the team. And that's a really great opportunity for students. And I know a number of students who may not have had that opportunity at their home school say participating in athletics at LSMSA has been a really meaningful part of their experience. What sports we offer often depends upon the student interest that year, but in general, we offer girls and boys basketball, girls and co-rec volleyball, flag football, ultimate frisbee, and co-rec soccer. Students who want to participate in other sports or students who want to participate at a different level, be involved in Louisiana High School Athletic Association sports, can often do so by trying out for the teams at St. Mary's School or at Natchitoches Central High School. Both of those are local schools in town that will allow our students to play with them if they make the team. And so students who are very serious athletes or who would like some more information about that can get some from Coach Dale. He's happy to work with you guys, and he serves as a liaison with the coaches at those other schools to make sure we can get those opportunities in place for our students. When he's not busy coaching his teams, Dale tries to coordinate some other recreational opportunities for students at our school. We tend to do some pickup games and some open gym time, and we also try to make sure that we schedule events during final exams week that can serve as stress relievers for our students. And so students who don't want to play at the team level can still be involved in the program, and we encourage everybody to do so. We also love to talk about SLAMT. SLAMT is an event that we hold each spring where students from sister schools, schools that are like us in other states, join up to compete in a number of athletic events, and also just to give the students a chance to get to know other kids like themselves. And so often that event is hosted here at LSMSA, but students will come to us from Arkansas, sometimes from Alabama, sometimes from Mississippi, and from Texas. And it's really an event that our students look forward to each year. Our next area is community involvement. Natchitoches is a great home for LSMSA, and there are a number of ways for our students to be involved in the community. One of those is through community service opportunities. Community service is not required at LSMSA, but it is something that we encourage students to participate in if they're able to do so. Ms. Jenny Shumate tends to be the person who coordinates our community service opportunities, but our students will work at the local food pantry. They will do other service projects in the community that give them a chance to give back to Natchitoches. We also have a number of students who are involved in religious activities while at LSMSA. Students can attend area churches or places of worship. They can participate in youth activities. A number of students will complete their confirmation class while they're at LSMSA and then go home for confirmation. And so there are several ways for students to remain involved and to find a place that they can continue to worship while they're at LSMSA. We also have a host family program. The host family program tries to connect students, particularly students from far away who may not get to go home very often, with a family in the Natchitoches area. And that family may be a family that takes them to church with them, or that invites them over to their home on the weekend to maybe do laundry without having to have a roll of quarters to do your laundry, or to eat a home-cooked meal. Students that are interested in the host family program complete an application, and their parents have to give approval for them to be paired with the family that has also completed an application to serve as a host family for LSMSA. And then finally, we have our work service program. All students at LSMSA complete 3 hours of work service each week. They'll be assigned a work service position, and they'll schedule those hours around their class hours. So once they know what their class schedule is, they can fit in that work service at times that they have some availability in their schedule. Most of our first year students end up doing work service for our cafeteria or with one of our custodial staff members. Those are the areas where we have the most openings for work service. But then after their first year, students will often move to a position in perhaps our writing center, serving as a tutor, working with a faculty or staff member, or working in one of our administrative offices. And so each year, students complete 3 hours of work service per week, and it is a graduation requirement. And it's one of the ways that we keep the cost of LSMSA low for the taxpayers by utilizing our students and their strengths and abilities. The last part of our student services program that I'd like to talk about is the student activities and leadership program. One of the responsibilities of the student life advisors is to make sure that we have a number of activities going on campus to keep the students busy, to give them an opportunity to blow off some steam, and to make sure that they have the most positive experience possible. To that end, they plan a number of hall parties, birthday parties, hall events, most of it involving food. The students are always anxious for some extra snacks or treats to eat. And so we'll do programs on the halls, as well as various campus-wide and building-wide activities. We try to make sure on any weekend that we have at least 2 opportunities for students, and these would be free events that any student's welcome to attend. And it might be something like, a karaoke night. It might be a movie night. We do video game nights. We have some major dances throughout the year. Just ways for the students to get together and have a good time with one another. We also have over 50 active clubs and student organizations, and if there's a club that we don't have on campus that a student would like to start, the process of doing so is really easy, and each year we have at least a handful of clubs that are started by students who have new interests or things that they had been doing at their home school that they'd like to bring to our campus, and we're really excited to work with them as they bring their ideas to our campus. We also think it's important to help our students develop leadership skills, and so we offer various workshops and retreats to help focus on those leadership skills that students can be developing at this age. Okay, so the second hat that I wear is the Director of Enrollment Services Office. And so as far as our Enrollment Services Office is concerned, I'm not going to go into too much detail because we've posted a lot of information on our website already this year. But in general, the steps to apply to LSMSA, the first thing you would do is complete your online application and then submit your test scores. So whatever test record you can submit to us, LEAP scores, EOC scores, those previous standardized tests that you've completed. We also ask every student to take the ACT or the SAT most years, and this year we will also accept the CLT, PSAT, or the pre-ACT. So any of those test opportunities, and we have a whole other video on our website that will talk a little bit more about those testing opportunities, as well as a video that talks about the application process. In addition to submitting the test scores, you request teacher recommendations. You submit your grades to us after you receive your fall midterm grades. So we'd be looking to get those grades in late December or maybe early January. We ask everybody to complete a campus visit if possible, and then also to complete an interview. And like I said, there's a lot of information on our website about that, and so I'm going to keep it brief right here, but you're welcome to visit our website for that information. I'm frequently asked what we're looking for when we're looking for an LSMSA student. And so I like to say that the LSMSA student is going to bring strong test scores and good grades. We are interested in your academic background, and these are the best predictors of how you're going to do academically at LSMSA. We're also looking for a superb disciplinary record. Our students do have a certain amount of independence, and we need to know that they're ready for that level of independence and they're ready to show the level of maturity that's necessary at our school. But we're also looking for students that are hardworking, interested in a challenge, able to work well independently, and able to easily get along with others. And most importantly, we are looking for students that want to attend LSMSA. It's tricky here sometimes. The classes are hard. Living away from mom and dad is hard. And so it's important that this is the student's idea, that it's something that they're really into, and that they're really certain that this is the right next step for them. And figuring that out can be a process, and we look forward to helping you with that process and answering questions and helping you decide if this may be a good fit for you. As I mentioned at the start, I've been with LSMSA for over 20 years, and I didn't anticipate this to be my career path, but I found the school and I just absolutely fell in love with the place and the students and the opportunity that it provides for students in Louisiana. And I do think that attending LSMSA is absolutely a life-changing experience. We bring students to this place where they have this opportunity to really learn to the best of their abilities, to take classes from a faculty that is unmatched in the state, and to learn with one another, to be surrounded by their peers. And to do so is really just such a tremendous opportunity for them, and they grow so much, and I find it to be a very rewarding place to work and absolutely fantastic opportunity for students in our state. So the next step, if you are interested in continuing down the path of applying to LSMSA, would be to submit your application, to sign up to take the ACT or the SAT or the CLT and send us your scores, to request those recommendations from your faculty, and to submit your grades to us. And we look forward to working with you. We look forward to answering your questions. I want to thank y'all for joining me today. I've enjoyed talking about the program, and if you have any questions, I look forward to answering those as well. At this point, I'm going to turn the floor over to Dr. Christy Pope-Key, our Director of Academic Services, to talk a little bit more about the academic program at LSMSA.
Thank you, Ms. Shumate. I am Dr. Christy Pope-Key. I'm the Director of Academics, and I'm so glad you guys are joining us today to talk about academics at LSMSA. I'm in my 6th year here. Prior to coming to LSMSA, I had a 15-year career in the college classroom teaching American Lit and Southern Lit, and I really, really enjoy working with our faculty, our students, and our families in making sure that the kids progress towards graduation and have an amazing academic experience. So today I want to spend a little bit of time talking about our foundations in the academic areas, and I want to make sure that you all know I'm available to answer any questions you have. So we'll cut to the PowerPoint in just a second, and I look forward to talking with you. So I want to tell you about our current students. It is helpful to see a few data points, I think, about our student population, although this doesn't capture the richness and the depth of their experiences here, and certainly it doesn't capture the whole person or the whole community. But sometimes these numbers can be helpful to take a look at. Our class of 2020, the students who just graduated, I want to let you know that 100% of them left LSMSA qualified for TOPS. So giving them good options to stay in state or to return to the state for grad school if they'd like. The top quartile ACT of our graduating class in the spring was a 33.8, and the class average overall was a 29.8. The top quartile GPA cumulative from their work before LSMSA and their time here was a 3.93. I want to let you know that we don't weight grades here, and when we evaluate a student's transcript, we convert everything to a 4-point scale. So sometimes there's a bit of sticker shock for students and parents when they see that, but I want to make sure you're aware. Part of the reason we do this is related to our approach to treat this experience as closely to a collegiate experience as we can. And 97% of our graduates from the class of 20 matriculated to four-year institutions this fall. 2 students are taking a gap year to travel and work internships before they attend their chosen colleges in the fall of 21. And 1 student enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps, and we're very proud of her and proud of that work. We are not an AP school per se, but our students are allowed to self-identify and take AP exams should they choose to. We can proctor those exams for the students. So I wanted to let you know how our kids did last spring and last summer with those AP exams. So we had 20 students who self-identified to take 25 exams, and 84% of those exams were scored at a 3 or better. So if you know about the AP system, and again, we're not an AP school, but if you know about the AP system, usually the 3 score is a threshold for collegiate credit. I do want to make sure that you know that we have got dual enrollment options every semester for every student at LSMSA. Up to 60 courses per semester are eligible for dual enrollment through NSU. And in those cases, what that means is that our faculty are teaching your students in the classroom, but because of our faculty's credentials and because of articulation agreements with NSU, NSU has said they can earn dual enrollment credit for that. So again, dual enrollment at LSMSA has to do with identifying classes taken here that can be eligible for dual enrollment credit at NSU. And there's no cost associated with that. In addition to some of this data, I want to tell you quickly about the fact that we encourage our students to pursue independent studies in the curriculum if they're interested. If there's a class they would like to be taking that we can't pull together a full roster for, they can connect with the faculty and pursue an independent studies on that, and we can transcript that. We encourage the students to take summer internships if they can, and we can help facilitate looking for those internships around the state. And we encourage students to consider big research projects, and a lot of times this becomes a project that we call distinction, where the students can graduate with distinction, having produced original research, presented original research to their peers, and we publish that in a bound copy that they can keep forever, or you, mom and dad, can keep forever on the coffee table if you like. So we're excited about those opportunities to let kids do a deep dive into curriculum that they're interested in or into work that they're interested in. We also offer a Future Scientist program, an Artist in Training program, again geared toward students' interests, their aspirations, their curiosities, and these are, again, places where they can do a deep dive. All right, let me tell you a little bit about our academic foundations. Our charter dictates that all of our faculty must be university credentialed. That means they have to have a master's degree in the field in which they teach. 78% of our current full-time faculty have PhDs or terminal degrees in their field. So when we're bringing faculty to campus, when we are considering hiring faculty, we need them to have graduate coursework in the field that we're going to ask them to teach. They're going to come with academic experiences similar to, if not exactly replicating, a collegiate professor or a university professor. And that's because we teach accelerated and college-level coursework on a collegiate model. Our coursework is recognized through articulation agreements by every college in the UL system, by Centenary and by Oglethorpe. And that means if your student graduates from LSMSA and wants to go to McNeese or La Tech or Louisiana Lafayette, Louisiana Monroe, or Centenary, their transcript will be evaluated looking at that coursework, and they may be able to swap out or skip over some university courses based on what they took here. We also offer dual enrollment, I mentioned that a minute ago, through NSU, and we've got associate degrees possibilities through NSU and through ULM that the students can earn alongside their transcript here at LSMSA. We also invest in a college counseling center. We know how important the college search is for our students and our families. We know that that landscape is ever shifting, ever changing. And so we've got 2 full-time certified counselors who do seminar coursework each spring with the junior class and then each fall with the senior class. So your students during their time here will get one-on-one work and small group work with our college counselors. It can be really tricky to do a college search from a distance, right? So we want to make sure that the counselors work closely with the families, work closely with the students to find the best fit for your students in their higher ed. So I need to tell you about our coursework. it can be incredibly challenging. We hope that it is always incredibly engaging, and we hope that it feeds your students' senses of curiosity, their sense of wonder, their sense of academic excellence, but it can be tough. So I want to tell you that their coursework and the material will likely be more challenging than anything they've encountered to date. For a lot of your students, their homeschool experiences or their sending school experiences have been really, really good. And maybe they've got 1 or 2 classes that require homework of them every night, or 1 or 2 classes that sort of keep them on their toes. I need to tell you that they're going to be taking at least 6 classes here that will have work every day, and it will be substantive and substantial work that they need to do. But I also want to tell you that we have faith in their ability to do this work. We would not invite them to attend here. We would not admit them through admissions if we did not have faith in your students. So while I'm telling you it's going to be really hard academically, I want to tell you that we believe your kids can do it, and we believe it's worth the rigor and worth the pace. So our pace, our rigor, our format, our learning outcomes, again, are all on a collegiate model. And I'm going to show you some schedules later in this presentation so you can sort of see that brought to life. Our average class size is 12 students. And the students are going to be managing homework and papers, exams and projects alongside the community expectations that they need to follow policies, they need to keep a clean room, they need to communicate with their adults, both on campus and off campus. So Ms. Shumate has talked with you about some of that. Know that we reinforce that in academics. Know that we see this as a holistic living learning community, and we try to tie all of these things together. And know that we're very excited about your kids coming to join us possibly. I'd like to transition quickly to let you get to know some of our faculty sort of briefly. What I want to show you is where their degrees are from and some of the things they specialize in, and a few little items about the ways in which they're not just active in the classroom, but also active in the whole campus community. So let me introduce you to a few of our faculty. This is Dr. Jason Anderson. He's going to be teaching later today. I think you'll enjoy spending some time with him. Dr. Anderson is a lecturer of biology. He came to LSMSA in 2011. He teaches our Intro to Bio sequence. He teaches modern genetics, principles of genetics. He's got a wildly popular elective called Survey of the Atmosphere that the kids love because they learn about meteorology and weather patterns. And this is in some ways a pet project for Dr. Anderson, but it's a way in which he can give the students some curriculum based on his own interests that I think is really fascinating. I also want to highlight for you that Dr. Anderson is the chair of our IDEA Council, a really important group on campus that's doing good work and guided work about issues related to diversity and equity and access. He's also the assistant director of our Excel program, which is a bridge program for underrepresented communities or underrepresented students who can come and spend time with us in the summer to prepare for entering LSMSA in the fall. He also coaches men's and women's basketball, and he's the sponsor of a Bee Club, right? So what I want to capture for you here is that it is very important what Dr. Anderson does in the classroom, but it's also very important the ways in which he connects with the students outside of the classroom and the ways in which he builds community. I want to offer something similar about Dr. Jocelyn Donlin. She's an associate lecturer in English. She's the department chair of our humanities. She's been at LSMSA since 2013. You can see that she teaches a full suite of English courses, and she sponsors our Model UN organization. What I want to highlight with Dr. Donlin is that as an academic chair, as the chair of our humanities department, she is going to be a resource for your students and for you all as families. Should you have questions about curriculum, questions about advising, questions about how a course is going, she is going to be, in addition to the faculty that are teaching that course, she's going to be a resource for you. So I want you to know that you all are always, always, always welcome to reach out directly to faculty with questions you may have, but also to reach out to department chairs with questions you may have. So Dr. Donlin is a fantastic chair. She's a fantastic sponsor. She has brought the Model UN organization back to campus thanks to student requests, and she does a lot of important work with that. I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Randy Key in full disclosure here. Randy is my husband, and we are an academic team. He is an associate lecturer of mathematics here. He and I both joined LSMSA in 2015. He teaches trig and pre-cal. He teaches calculus 3, and I want to tell you a little bit about the Introduction to Engineering course that he developed again, based on student requests and student interests. He had a previous career in engineering with Halliburton, and in bringing this course to life, what we're seeing is that as many as a third to 40% of our kids are interested in engineering fields when they leave LSMSA, and the opportunity to get a little bit of a taste of what that career looks like, what are some of the important theoretical notions of the field in this class has been really important. I also want to let you know about our special projects. Each faculty member teaches a special projects week in January, where the kids can sign up for a week-long seminar or a week-long experience in topics of their choosing. This is a graduation requirement. I've noted here that Randy has taught special projects in math, sports and math rather, in Engineering Our Way to Mars, in a pre-calculus boot camp. For a couple of years, he's taken students to Oklahoma to Schlumberger's training facility. So the idea being that not just in the classroom we're exploring some of these ideas, but that we hope to have experiential opportunities for the students, and special projects is one way that we can accomplish that. Chris King is a lecturer of visual arts. He has been with LSMSA since 2008. Again, teaching a full suite from beginning level to very advanced visual arts courses. His special projects are often centered on a deep dive in contemporary art and then a series of museum visits. Through support from alum and faculty, he's been able to take students to Houston, to Dallas, to Northwest Arkansas for these experiences. And again, what you see there is the faculty interest and the student interest connecting, and the opportunity for these deep dives. King is also taking lead on a campaign project and a vision project that we're working with our foundation on right now for a builder space and an innovation center that will be a facility that the students can use. We're going to have aspects of an old sort of an old school style builder's workshop, of a technology space that will include 3D printers and laser design cutters, of a crafting area, of a greenhouse. We're seeing more and more evidence in studies having to do with high achieving kids and gifted kids that when they can find ways to work with their hands, when they can find ways to express creativity in tangible ways, that it is really beneficial for their wellness. And so this is part of this vision project that King and other faculty are working closely with our foundation on, is to bring this to life as a new co-curricular space for our kids to enjoy on campus. I want to tell you a quick bit about Dr. Casey Green. She's an associate lecturer of history. Casey is a LSMSA alum herself. And after completing her graduate degrees at the University of Connecticut, came back to teach here. She joined LSMSA in 2015. Her special projects have been on quilting, have been on Stephen Sondheim musicals, have been on gerrymandering, as her interest in American government and American history dovetail there. And I want to tell you a little bit about, I have a note here about May Day campus visits. One of the things that we find when students come to campus that they miss from home is their pets. They miss their cats, they miss their dogs, they miss their gerbils. They tell me they miss their snakes. I'm not sure how to process that, but I believe them. And so there are times throughout the semester that faculty and staff will bring their own pets to campus. So Dr. Green will regularly bring her Golden Retriever Mayday to campus, maybe on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon. And students who want to, nobody has to if they don't want to, but students who want to can hang out with Mayday, can pet Mayday, they can throw the ball around on the quad. And it just is a stress reliever for the kids. It's a way for Dr. Green to connect with the kids, and Mayday loves every bit of it. And then the last faculty member I want to tell you a quick bit about is Mr. Leo Eisenlohr. He joined us in 2017. He's an instructor of languages. I'd like to point out that he teaches both Chinese and Arabic courses. We have a full 2-year curriculum in both areas. This complements our other language offerings in Latin, German, Spanish, and French. We're very excited about this curriculum. We feel like this is a place, again, to meet students where they're interested, to help them diversify their transcripts, and just to have a great experience with Mr. Eisenlohr. He continues each semester to work with several students on independent studies on either language study or dialect study or calligraphy. Again, the students begin their language study with Mr. Eisenlohr, get interested, look for more ways to deepen their knowledge in the area, and we're really excited to be able to offer that. So those are just a couple of snapshots from our faculty. I want to tell you about, I'm going to move on here to talk a little bit about our graduation requirements. Our requirements include or have embedded in them both the TOPS requirements and the Core 4 requirements. So we align with the state expectations in both those areas, and then we add a little something extra. So as you know from your own students' experiences, they need to progress through 4 units of English, 4 units of math, 4 units of social studies, and 4 units of science for the Core 4. For TOPS, we add in the unit of arts, the 2 units in language, the unit and a half of PE, the half unit of health, and then we add in 2 units of electives that we would like for them to complete while they're here. And elective options are an important component of our curriculum. And oftentimes they are going to be that sort of deep dive into the areas that they're interested in. So you're done with your 4 units in science, but you want to take that meteorology course, or you want to take organic chemistry, or you want to take advanced improvisation in the theater cohort. So that sort of deep dive, that place for the electives that go above and beyond the Core 4 and above and beyond the TOPS components is a lot of what we can offer your kids if they come to school with us. We also have a series of campus activities and traditions that are really important that we can talk more about at a later date, but I've mentioned Special Projects Week. We also have required weekends, usually 1 or 2 a semester, where we ask that the students don't go home, that they stay on campus for that weekend for some special academic or social or communal programming that we think is important for them. So I mentioned that I wanted to show you the schedules of our students. And what I have done here is I've just grabbed 3 or 4 traditional or fairly common schedules. And this can demonstrate the ways in which, A, they're going to be taking a lot of classes, and B, we run on a collegiate schedule or on a collegiate model. So this is a traditional sophomore schedule for a student who's interested in dance. So what you're going to see in this schedule is they are taking English 110, Intro to Writing Part 1. That's going to be one of their core units in English. They're taking biology, they're taking American history, and they're taking geometry. So they're taking care of their Core 4 classes. This student tested into Spanish 2, so they are taking care of their languages. And the student is interested in dance. So they're taking an Intro to Dance course and another course called Body Movement that they can use for either PE credit or dance credit. You can see that their classes either meet on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or a Tuesday, Thursday schedule. Our language courses traditionally meet 4 days a week to have a little bit more repetition in that pedagogy in ways that are really fruitful for them. But this might be a sophomore schedule. So sometimes when your students come to exploration days, they're going to see our big long list of classes, and they're going to want to jump right into quantum mechanics, right? But if they're a sophomore, most of what they're going to take is going to mirror those core areas. But again, these aren't going to be the traditional courses. They're going to be laced with a lot of rigor. The pace is going to be pretty quick. There's going to be a lot of reading and a lot of writing, but they're going to love it. I promise you, they're going to be fine. A junior schedule, this is again, it's sort of a typical junior schedule. This is for a student who's interested in the STEM fields. And so you can see that for their junior history course, they've been able to choose a class that we teach called History of Modern Science with Dr. Langford. So we've got a number of history electives, a number of English electives where they can pursue what they're interested in or what they're curious about, and there can be ways that they can diversify their transcript with this. You can see that they're taking both organic chemistry and independent chemistry research and principles of genetics. So this is a kid who's very deep into science, who's interested in science, and who is probably working toward our Future Scientist Program certification. I also want to note here, I mentioned earlier that we're not an AP school, but we have one traditional AP class taught in our math department, and that is the AP Calculus BC sequence. So that course has been on our books for I think about a decade now. Students commit to a year-long study in that course if they choose to take it, and at the end of that year-long study, they take the AP exam. So that is our one AP course. Again, if there are other areas where your student is interested in pursuing AP credit, they do not have to take the coursework. They can just sign up for the exam, and we will proctor that for them. Here is a senior schedule. for a student who is very interested in languages. So as they have progressed through our curriculum, they have checked off boxes for the core classes, they have made good progress in their other areas, and they've got space in their schedule to take the things that they're really, really interested in. So this student is in second year Chinese, and in first year Arabic, and in second year French. They're taking advanced Spanish language and culture. This is essentially a 5th year language course. They're taking Gothic Lit, they're taking astronomy and world history. You see they're doing independent studies in visual arts and in physics. They're working toward a distinction project there. And you can see on their schedule the college planning seminar, where they're working with our college counselor on their collegiate search. Now, this student had hoped to go to university and major in world languages, hopes to be a translator, and travel the world. So these are the ways that this student's transcript are going to demonstrate that. And here's the senior schedule for a student who's interested in humanities and science. And again, I just want you to see what they're able to pursue as they get into their 3rd year, or their 2nd year, but as they get into their senior year, and the sort of opportunities they may have in terms of coursework. The student's taking transnational fiction and dystopian literature. They're doing an independent study in English. And then from the science side, they're taking quantum mechanics and thermodynamics. So this is a student who has worked hard and worked ahead in their core areas, and they're finishing out this senior fall with some of these courses that they've been interested in. So I need to tell you a little bit about our academic policies, and I'm going to push through here because I know I've had you for a few minutes. We understand what we're asking of your students. We understand that taking them from a traditional freshman year experience or a traditional sophomore year experience and putting them into a collegiate atmosphere can be really tricky. So we have a drop add period at the beginning of each semester where they can make schedule adjustments if they realize that they've got too many classes. We want to keep them full time, but we can adjust some things if they realize they have too many Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and they need more balance in their week. If they realize mornings are better than afternoons. So we build in 2 weeks at the beginning of each semester, again, just like a college would, to make adjustments to their schedule. Our attendance policies are incredibly strict. Attendance is taken by class throughout the day. So if you have an 11:30 class, a 1:30 class, and a 2 o'clock class, your attendance is going to be taken in each of those classes. And if a student misses 4 classes in a single course, 4 class periods in a single course, they're going to fail that class according to our policy. That's how important we believe it to be that they come to class, that they are present and active and participating. If a student has 10 unexcused absences overall, they will be asked to return home. Again, that's indicative of our campus values and how important we think it is. We also think it's important that we know throughout the day where your kids are. If you believe they're in an 11:30 class and I believe they're in an 11:30 class, then we want them in that class. So we really drill this into the students. We really reinforce this with the faculties and with the families. And I also need to let you know that at LSMSA, if a student is struggling, anything below a 70% is a D, and a D is a failing course grade. This doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And we've got a couple of ways to remedy that. If your student is struggling in a course or struggling in a couple of courses at the end of the semester and they end up with a D, we've got some policies that allow for grade forgiveness or credit recovery. But also, should you choose to take your child back to the homeschool, that D will carry credit with the homeschool. So we don't ever want a student's experience here to put them behind in terms of graduation requirements or put them behind in terms of progressing toward graduation in the eyes of the state. So regardless of what the percentage grade is, a D at home will carry credit. And so we've got that sort of safety net built in should you find that you need to take your kid back to their homeschool. When we see students struggle, we begin to try to bring them into the academic fold with guided study, with supervised study, with office hours in the faculty offices, and we try to involve the parents. Again, I'm going to ask you, should your students join us, that you help us keep an eye on grades. You check in to our course management software that I'm going to show you in just a second, and that you get us in dialogue whenever you feel the need. Parenting from afar can be really tricky. Working with your students' academics from afar can be really tricky. And highly motivated, high achieving, gifted kids are going to tell you, Mom, I've got it. Dad, I've got it. But if you feel like they don't have it, let's get all the adults in a conversation and let's see what we can do to support your students. I want to show you a couple of screens from our course management software because we feel like this is an important part of parental support. This is what you can see of your student's schedule when you log in to LSMSA from the academic portal. Some of you have already worked in LSMSA through the admissions portal, so you're going to get familiar with some of these processes, but you can see what classes they're taking, what their schedule is for that Monday. You can see that for this student, they attended their 9:30 class. Mr. Eisenlohr at 10:30 should put in the attendance. You'll be able to see that they're there for that. They've got a break in their day until 1 o'clock. Dr. Landry will put in attendance. And so you can check that they are attending class. Also, any of those courses are hyperlinked. So where you see the blue lettering, you can drill in and see additional information. This is another place in the system where you can see your students' grades. So you can see for this student in History of the Cold War, they've got a 90.94%. And you can drill into that grade percentage. You can see what they got on each assignment, if they have any missing assignments. This also demonstrates, for example, that they have outstanding assignments in visual arts and in Python. They're not due yet. On the day that they're due, that little red 1 next to active will trigger up to due today, and you'll be able to help track that way. And when you drill into the course, so there you see Exploring Visual Arts with Chris King. If we were to be able to be clicking on that, you could see his course page with his syllabus, his office hours, his contact information. You can push in and see assignments. All of this is meant to connect you to the curriculum, to connect the students to the curriculum. And I'll offer that this semester in particular, we have taught almost entirely through this portal for our online students and the online class experience that we've chosen for Fall 20. And it's a very robust system that you guys can spend a lot of time in and gain a lot of knowledge out of. I want to quickly highlight some of the electives that students can pursue beyond the Core 4 level here. This is in our Math and Computer Science department. You can see a number of computer science courses, app development, robotics, programming with Python, cybersecurity, in addition to our high-level math courses in DiffEQ and linear algebra and topology. In the science areas, we've got courses in zoology, genetics, astrobiology, human anatomy, thermodynamics. This is all above the traditional Intro to Bio, Intro to Chemistry, Intro to Physics courses that your kids can take here. In humanities, you'll see some of the deep dive in women's history, creative writing, European intellectual thought, the American Revolution, the history of the American West. Again, these are places where they can take the traditional American history, the traditional civic sequence, the traditional world sequence, but they can also take these electives for core credit, particularly in this department, and really flesh out on their transcript the high-level work that they're doing at LSMSA. In our arts area, and I've not told you nearly enough about our arts department, we've got beginning courses in dance, theater, piano, chorale, and visual arts. We've got advanced instrumental and music theory courses, advanced level dance courses, advanced level theater courses, advanced level visual arts, advanced level piano courses, advanced level voice courses. And what we always hope is that students who do not have previous arts experience will find an entry point to pursue that should they're interested. But students who bring to us years of experience in these places will also find a curriculum that interests them and that they can pursue. Every year we get kids who are convinced they are going to go and be STEM kids in college, and they take an acting class with Mr. Terrio, and boom, suddenly they're looking at theater schools. And I always want to tell the parents, I know that engineering degree sounded great, but look how happy your kids are. And a lot of times we see them pursuing both areas equally, and that's really exciting too. So the arts component at LSMSA is vitally important to our community, and we're really grateful that the state allows us to pursue this alongside the other areas, and super proud of our arts faculty. So those are some of the electives. That's some of the stuff that the kids can get into eventually when they're here. And I just want to talk a little bit about next steps. When students complete the curriculum, when they complete their time with LSMSA, we are very proud to send them off to college and university well prepared and ready essentially to conquer the world, but certainly to conquer undergrad. I want to tell you that year in and year out, nearly 60% of our students stay in state. They take advantage of TOPS, they take advantage of articulation agreements, and they stay, close to home. I have here a select listing of colleges attended out of state over the last 3 years. And what I want to highlight for you here is on this list, you will see Ivy League schools, you will see elite colleges on the West Coast, you will see big research institutions and land grant institutions, but I also want you to see small liberal arts colleges. I want you to see small engineering schools and dedicated spaces where the kids can pursue in a smaller environment their interest. Our goal is always, always, always for the student and the family to feel good about that collegiate choice. I am just as proud of a student who finds their home at an in-state school with a degree that they're excited about as I am of the kids who pursue work in the Ivies or the Seven Sisters or engineering schools. My goal, our staff's goal, our faculty's goal is that the kids and the families find the right fit. So know that that's going to be our support throughout their time here. That's going to be the message from my desk throughout their collegiate search. And know that we're really excited about the possibility of you and your students becoming part of the LSMSA family. I'm going to step away now. I'm going to turn things back over to the folks in admissions. Thank you for your time. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I am at kkey@lsmsa.edu. Thanks so much.